Welcome to a show about death. This is the next episode, and today I wanted to talk about Anubis. Anubis is the Egyptian god of death. I intend to talk about the various gods of death in upcoming episodes, but I'm going to start with Anubis because he's one of the more popular ones, more well known. See, Anubis was originally the god of death and the king of the underworld in Egyptian mythology. But after some time, he eventually became effectively replaced as the king of the underworld by Osiris. But he continued to remain the god of the souls, god of death itself. He ferried the souls to the afterlife. Anubis is the one who ferries the souls of the dead to the Hall of Judgment, where he takes their heart and places it on the scales of justice to weigh against the white feather. And effectively, it's said that if the heart is lighter than the feather, then the heart is pure and good, and the soul will go forth into the land into the field of reeds, where it's basically like Egyptian heaven, right? And if the heart is heavier than the feather, then the heart will fall to the ground, and the being and the person will be consumed by another god. I don't remember what his name was. By this giant alligator crocodile thing. I don't remember which one it was. But effectively, Anubis is more interesting to me than Osiris, because Anubis is the god of death, whereas Osiris is the god of the underworld and all of that. Anubis is the one who deals with death itself. Not the dead, but death. Right? See, Anubis is also the patron god of embalming, mummification, and burials, stuff like that, and was said to often appear at he was also said to often appear at funerals and stuff like that in the form disguised as a priest, which I think is really interesting. He was also, interestingly enough, the patron god of the lost souls and the miserable, which is really interesting. He was the god. He was also the patron deity of the lost and the miserable, and I really think that's interesting. Now, a lot of movies and modern media portray Anubis as an evil god, but Anubis wasn't evil. He was actually a protector god. He's actually the protector god of graves and tombs and shit. He's actually the protector god of graves and tombs. And it's really interesting. He's the god who protects and ferries the souls to the Hall of Judgment, where they'll be judged and passed forward to the afterlife if they're judged positively. If not, their very soul will be consumed by a giant crocodile being and disappear. Now, it's interesting. I don't believe Egyptians believe in the cycle of reincarnation due to this, basically. They believe that once the soul is passed, it passes forth to the Hall of Judgment, then to either the Field of Reeds or gets completely destroyed. And I really think that it's quite interesting that, I find Anubis very interesting because, like death in general, he was thought to be evil. But I believe that death isn't evil. It's not good either. Whereas Anubis is a protector god and like firmly on the side of good, death is neither good nor evil. It simply is. It is simply a factor of life. It's just part of being alive. Dying is simply part of being alive. You know? And I really think and so many people view death as such a negative thing, and while it is sad, it's definitely sad and unfortunate, the loss of loved ones and family and or loved ones. Death is just a part of life, you know? It's not inherently bad and it's not inherently good either. It simply is. Now, I'm going to talk more about how other cultures view death and deities of death in the episodes to come. And I might eventually even come back to Anubis. I intend to do an eventual episode on how various cultures treat their dead, which Egyptians, mummified their dead. But I'll go more in depth on that. I'll go more in depth on that in that episode. But for now, though, I suppose it's not much else to do other than to simply leave you with the usual question: what is death?